Hey, what's up? My name's Shane and welcome back to another video. I'm sure most of you who have a PlayStation 4 are aware that there is currently a European summer sale on the PlayStation Store. There's a ton of great games you can get for a pretty decent price, and I've considered making these type of videos before where I talk about games I like and why I suggest checking them out if you haven't already. And that's pretty much what I'm going to do in this video. So we're going to start off with For Honor. This is a game where you play as three factions: the Knights, Vikings and Samurai. Whilst this is primarily a multiplayer game, it does feature a story mode and you experience it from the perspectives of the different factions, and throughout it you play as the heroes you can play as online. So once you've beat it, you'll have a fair idea of who you'll want to play as. There are 12 heroes, 4 heroes for each of the 3 factions, and in the season pass there's an extra 6 characters like the Centurion, the Highlander, the Shinobi, and each has their own moveset, customization and executions. And that contributes as to why this game is worth your time, because you can spend hours and hours just playing as one character, and then maybe you'll want to try out other characters. For example, I main the Aruchi class, but a while back I decided to try out the Valkyrie. I actually really enjoy playing as her, and now I'm working on leveling her up and getting better stats for my armors and weapons. And when it comes to online, there's a handful of modes. There's a 1v1 duels, 2v2 brawls, Dominion, Deathmatch and a few others. For me and a lot of people, Dominion is the main game mode. It's a 4v4 match where you capture points, and like any Dominion mode you get points for capturing, and your objective is to stop other players from capturing them and for your team to get the most points and of course win. If you haven't picked up a For Honor already, I'd recommend trying it out. It's a pretty fun game, and like I said, you can spend hours playing it, and you can get it right now for just £12. Next up is the Uncharted collection. If you have a PS3 or a PS4, the Uncharted collection is a must buy. It's a series that is definitely worth your time in my opinion. If you've never played them before, they have fun gameplay, interesting characters, story and amazing set pieces. Now, if you have no idea what Uncharted is about, in a way it's similar to Tomb Raider, the third person game that's all about exploring ancient places, artifacts. The way you climb and get about, the melee combat and gunplay are very similar, but at the same time they're very much both their own thing. In Uncharted you play as Nathan Drake, voiced and mocapped by Nolan North, one of my favourite voice actors, and throughout the game you'll search for treasures and artifacts, along with characters such as Sully, Elena, Chloe, Sam, which are all great characters. You'll venture to a ton of different locations, each with combat, puzzles and set pieces, and if you end up liking the collection, you might be interested in trying out the other Uncharted games like A Thief's End and The Lost Legacy, both which are great games, and since they're both current gen games they look amazing. The character models, scenery, pretty much just everything about them. Uncharted 4 is a continuation of Nathan Drake's story. The Lost Legacy is its own self-contained story where you play as Chloe Fraser from Uncharted 2 and you team up with Nadine Ross from Uncharted 4. If you've never played any of the Uncharted games before, the collection is on sale right now for just £13. Next up is Assassin's Creed the Ezio collection. Now it goes without saying that the Ezio games are considered by a lot of people as the best in the series, and I get that. Assassin's Creed is one of my favourite game series and I love the Ezio games. And I think they're held in such high regards is because you get to know Ezio from when he's born until he dies. You get to see him progress from basically a playboy to a master assassin, and what makes it even better is that he's a genuinely interesting character. Now if for some reason you've never played any Assassin's Creed game, I'd definitely suggest trying the Ezio collection out. Throughout the games you go from becoming an assassin to forming a brotherhood and having assassins at your disposal, and of course the conclusion to Ezio's story. Each game is filled with a ton of content. There's the main story missions, side missions, collectibles, tombs. They're all filled with hours of content, and this collection has enhanced visuals as well as the DLCs. But something worth mentioning is that Brotherhood and Revelations don't have a multiplayer, which kind of sucks because it was pretty fun. But regardless, this collection has 3 great games filled with a ton of content, and I would suggest it to anyone who's never played the Ezio games or even an Assassin's Creed game, and it's on sale right now for just £15. Next up is Dying Light, the Following Enhanced Edition, aka the zombie parkour game. Now a lot of us have zombie fatigue because there's so much zombie games out there, so why should you give Dying Light a chance? Well, firstly, it's just a really fun game with gameplay that has never been in a zombie game to my knowledge. Parkour is key in this game, it's actually part of the story. People are trained in parkour in order to survive, regardless of whether you think that's stupid or not. Like I said, it has a really fun gameplay and that's all that matters. You can climb basically anything, you can jump off of stuff really high and land on a zombie and plunge into them with your weapon, and of course you can do the favourite, which is the drop kick. I mean, how many games let you drop kick a zombie? Now there's a lot of great things about this game and then there's some not so great stuff. When it comes to the not so great stuff, it's the story and characters. There aren't really any form of memorable characters and the same goes for the story, but even though in my opinion they aren't great, the gameplay makes this worth buying. The parkour is great, it is really fun, and as well as parkour there's melee combat where you can use any weapon you find, you can upgrade them with blueprints, you can add electric, fire, bleed damage, poison, and add a bunch of other stuff to a weapon so that you can do more damage. There's also skills and different types. Agility helps you climb a lot faster, you can jump over zombies, slide and break their knees, drop kick them and stuff like that. Then there's survivor, which lets you set up traps, craft different types of grenades, loot bodies faster. Then with power, this helps with combat because you can stomp on zombies' heads once you've knocked them down. You can absorb more damage, take down zombies instantly. And then there's legend, where when you've leveled up all of those you can put your skills into whatever you want, such as more melee damage, better health regeneration, more stamina, and you can see there's 25 levels for each, so you can really max out your character and give them max damage, health and stamina. Other things worth mentioning are that this game has co-op. You can play through the story with other people and you can also play as a zombie in one of the modes. Nighttime is also one of the really cool features of this game. At nighttime, experience is doubled, so you can make the most of that and level up faster, but at nighttime other zombies come out such as volatiles and they are just as fast as you, so if they spot you they will chase you, but luckily for you, you have a UV flashlight which stuns them. There's also flares which are portable safe zones, so it's always good to have this stuff on you when playing at night. Now the following is actually a DLC. It's a completely new map with new weapons, missions, story, and you get a buggy. You actually get a car which you can use to run over zombies. Dying Light isn't the best zombie game out there, but it's definitely a fun one that I recommend, and you can get it right now for just £15. Up next is Nioh. Nioh is another addition to the Souls-like games, but it's very much its own thing. Unlike Dark Souls and Bloodborne, where those games don't have much of a story, there's just a lot of lore, this game actually has a story, and instead of creating a character, you play as a character called William, who is basically the Irish Geralt of Rivia. I'd recommend this to anyone who's a fan of Souls-like games, and even to people who've never played any of them. It's a game set in Japan, so of course everything is themed around that, such as the armor sets, weapons, jutsus, the setting, and the enemies. And a really neat feature in this game is the skills. You get skill points and you can put those into any weapon you want, such as dual swords, spear, and kurosagama, which give you different combos and moves to give you more variety in combat for your low, mid, and high stance. And also your ninja skills, which allow you to use different talismans like fire, electric, poison, and paralysis. You can apply buffs like power pulse, which gives you extra attack power. You can use other talismans which lower enemies' defense. I could go on, but you get the idea. There are a ton of ways to play this game when it comes to skills, jutsus, and magic, which is great because that adds replayability. Next time you play, you might want to use different weapons, focus on using certain skills and magic. Now with any Souls-like games, you might be wondering about the difficulty, and yes, this game is just as difficult. Some bosses might drive you insane, but just like those games, it feels freaking amazing when you beat a boss you've been struggling with. And a feature in this that isn't in those games is missions. When you beat a mission, you'll be taken to a map for the region you're in, and you can choose what missions you want to do. There's the main missions which progress the game, but there's also side missions which allow you to get more Amrita, weapons, armor sets, and level up more. There's also your shrine where you can level up your stats. You can trade in items for gold and items such as elixirs, and also choose your loving weapon. As you progress through the game, you'll get different types of loving weapons, and they are a godsend when it comes to bosses because they can really help you out. Basically, an animal will appear and infuse whatever weapon you have equipped, and you'll do a ton of extra damage to your enemies. But of course they have a limited time, but they can be overfilled. Each also has a different stats, so it's up to you to decide which one you want to use. The base game of Nioh is on sale for just £12, and the complete edition is also on sale for £20, which contains 3 DLCs, each with new areas, bosses, weapons, armor sets, story, which are actually all on sale right now for £4 each. So if you buy the complete edition, you'll actually be saving yourself money. So if you've never played a Souls-like game and are interested in them, I'd definitely suggest this, and also to people who have played the Souls games but haven't picked this up, £12 is pretty damn good, and so is £20 for the complete edition. Next up is Horizon Zero Dawn. I'm just gonna straight up say, if you have a PlayStation 4, you need to get this game. It is one of the best PlayStation 4 exclusives out there. So, you play as a character called Aloy and are raised by a man called Rost. And you're essentially outcasts and everyone shuns you for reasons you'll eventually find out. Now, you live in a world where machines have taken over. There's a variety of them, and for the most part they are all dangerous. You get trained by Rost and he teaches you how to survive, from how to get health, how to sneak in grass, craft arrows, throw rocks as a distraction, whistle to get machines' attention. So by the time Aloy grows up, she is more than capable of dealing with them. But the same can't be said for everyone else, and you'll often be the one killing the machines and saving people from them. And you'll be killing machines a lot, as that's one of the ways to get experience as well as materials. Now, this game needs praise for its open world. It's just amazing. It's beautiful, it feels alive, there's a variety of different areas, a ton of things to do, and of course the machines are roaming all over it. And in this game there is a ton of different machines, like Watchers, Stalkers, Scorchers, and each is different. They all have their own attacks, weaknesses, and will drop certain materials. And in this game you'll use your focus, which allows you to scan enemies and tag them, and through doing this you can see their weakness, so you'll know how to approach them. There's also a bunch of skills you unlock through leveling up, which allow you to do things like slow down time when aiming your bow, take down machines and enemies with a silent strike, get more loot from defeated enemies, fire up to 3 arrows at once, and a lot more. I hope I don't get too repetitive with this list, because some games do have similar features like great open worlds and content, so I'll just say that this is a must buy for PlayStation 4 owners. It's really unlike any other game I've played, and you can get it for just £12.49, or the complete edition, which comes with the Frozen Wilds DLC, for just £20.49. And finally, the last game on the list is The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Game of the Year edition. It makes me pretty happy whenever I get to talk about this game, because it's one of my favourite games. It's one of the best open world RPGs in my opinion, and I'm sure if you've never played it, you're wondering why. To be honest, I don't even know where to start, because there's so much to talk about, like the characters, story, side quests, gameplay, the open world, the music, Gwent, the replayability. Like I said, there's so much to talk about when it comes to this game. I'll try to keep it short and let you know what this game is about and what it has to offer. So you play as a witcher called Geralt of Rivia. Witchers are people who take on contracts to get rid of monsters, and in return they get paid. They're usually referred to as freaks, and throughout the game you'll notice that a lot of people don't like you. But since you're a witcher, you have increased strength, speed, reflexes, and you can use magic known as signs such as Igni, Axii, and Quen, and you drink potions and decoctions that are extremely useful. They can restore your health, increase your attack power, immunity to poison, and you can upgrade all of these to their max, which is superior. There's the standard potion, enhanced, and then superior. Each time you upgrade them, they'll have better stats and can also last longer, so it's definitely worth leveling those up as well as your oils. In this game you'll be fighting a huge variety of monsters like beasts, cursed ones, hybrids, necrophages, and vampires, and each one has weaknesses. So just like potions, you can upgrade your oils to do more damage, which you'll want to do especially on Death March at the highest difficulty. So what makes this game great? First up is the dialogue options. In this game, you decide what happens, and based on your decisions and actions, things can go very differently. People can live or die, certain events will play out differently, and there's multiple outcomes in this game, which adds a ton of replayability, because your first and second playthrough can end up being completely different. I know I'm gonna unintentionally go on and on, so I will really try to wrap this up instead of basically doing a review of the game. So it has a great open world, it looks great, and it's filled with content like bandit camps, treasures, caves, side quests, towns. When you open up the map and just see the question marks everywhere, showing you all the other things you can do aside the main story. As for the characters, they are also great, especially the main character, Geralt. Since he's a witcher, he's stripped of emotion, but his sarcasm and take no shit attitude is amazing, and it's up to you to decide what type of person he is. You can be friendly to everyone or say screw it and be the exact opposite. As well as Geralt, there's a bunch of memorable characters like Yennefer, Triss, Ciri, Vesemir, Eskel, Lambert, Vernon and the Bloody Baron, and each of the main characters has their own quests, so you get to know what their characters are like. The combat in this game is also really damn smooth. You have light and heavy attacks, you can block, evade and roll, you have your magic signs, potions, bombs, oils and crossbow, and for the most part you'll be using all of these. Now when it comes to the story, it's based around finding a character called Ciri as the Wild Hunt is after her. You'll go from places like Novigrad to Skellige searching for clues as to where she might be, and what's really cool is that you actually get to play as her during certain segments and you get an idea of how powerful she is, and when it comes to the ending of the game, you get to decide how her story ends. Now, when it comes to the Game of the Year edition, it includes basically everything that has been released for the game so far, such as 16 free DLCs and the 2 expansions, Heart of Stone and Blood and Wine, both which are brilliant DLCs, and just like the main game also have replayability as each has dialogue options and multiple endings. You can get the base game for just £12 and the Game of the Year edition for just £16. For £4 more you're getting hours upon hours of extra content, and in my opinion it is the best version of The Witcher 3 that you can get. And in my opinion, £16 for the Game of the Year edition is one of the best deals you will ever get on a game. Anyway guys, these are just some games I'd recommend getting whilst the European summer sale is on. I actually ended up picking up Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm Legacy, which is Naruto Storm 1, 2, 3 and 4 and Road to Boruto expansion. Other games worth mentioning that are on sale right now are Assassin's Creed Origins, Batman Return to Arkham, Dark Souls 3, Dark Souls Remastered. If there's any games that you'd recommend that are on sale right now, feel free to let me know and I will definitely check them out. And as always, thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.